Thank you for staying with us. We're still living in that beautiful atmosphere of Thursday evening, the reopening of the ancient avenue of the ram-headed sphinxes in Luxor, in a ceremony attended by His Excellency the President, a ceremony that came in the same style of the Pharaoh's Golden Parade that impressed the world in April, and certainly the Thursday show was very, very impressive. We were just listening to that beautiful song by Hamai, really a great, great performance, a great show. To shed more light on the issue, we are most delighted to be joined by Dr. Ossama Abdul. He is an Egyptologist. He's the director of the Children's Museum, and he's also a member of the High Commission for Museum Scenarios and Exhibitions. Dr. Abdul, thank you for joining us. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Sir, before talking more, just give us your impression about the festival on Thursday.
The Thursday evening of the Sphinx Avenue, it was just not only the ceremony of the finalization or the accomplishment of the avenue's work, but actually it was a celebration of Luxor itself. The Luxor itself as a city has been renovated and has to be a good destination, a new destination for the tourist, a new destination specifically for the culture tourist, and the Luxor has changed definitely from different aspects. As you see, the Corniche, the market, and also the archaeological site, all the city has been changed. The celebration is a celebration also for Luxor, but we focused on the Sphinx Avenue because it was the great work of this avenue is give a message all over the world that Egypt has concern about its civilization and its heritage for next generation and for the whole world. Humankind.
Yeah. Again, before proceeding more, I want your comment on some of the nice things we saw there. The lighting system, the delivery by the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, all of the information that he really gave us and gave the world. And that beautiful song that was the theme, especially the performance by Hamai and his colleague. And also, we saw the tune of Luxor, Baladna Balad Suwah. Luxor is our, homeland. It's the land of tourists. On a number of occasions during the ceremony, of course, that famous legendary song. So your comment on the overall show.
Yes, so first of all, I will comment, as you said, on the events, mostly songs and performances. It was amazing, and it was very selected performances. But you can see the variety of Egyptian culture through this event and the performances, from the Egyptian songs, from the Saidis, Fallahi, from south to north. Plus, it was more important is the sopranos of opera. When the performance by hieroglyphics, the ancient Egyptians. That's the reviving of all our culture. It's the songs has been performed by sopranos. It was a themes of the Amun or themes has already been written in the walls of Luxor Temple and Karnak. This extracted from the temple itself. This for first time have been shown, but it was already been festivaled by the same occasion in Obit feast in ancient Egypt. And that's reviving the one of the most Egyptian feast, very well known from the New Kingdom.
Wonderful.
1400 BC.
Wonderful. Now, sir, we understand this avenue links between the Karnak temples and the Luxor temple. So give us the historical...
Yeah, the history of the avenue. The avenue, it was a route link between La Karnak temple in the north and Luxor temple at the south. It links about 2,700 meters. It's almost 3 kilometers. In this avenue, it was decorated by a queue of rams, or what kind of sphinx, in the shape of animal body, and the head of ram in some, but in some areas by a head of human. The history of avenue was built by Amoniphis III from the New Kingdom, and most of Egyptian kings has continued to build this avenue. Like Tutankhamun participated, Ramses II, Ramses III, and Seti the first. But also in the end of Celtis dynasty in ancient Egypt, Nectanebo, the king of the Seti dynasty, also continued to build this road, and he added the sphinx with the human head.
Right. So, Dr. Abdul, what about the Sphinx itself? What does it symbolize?
The Sphinx in the avenue of Luxor and Karnak, it represents the ram. The ram is a symbol of Amun. Amun was the high deity of ancient Egypt at that time in Thebes. Plus, in this festival of Obed, what happens once a year, the second day of annudation, it was a big celebration. The barks, 3 barks, goes from Luxor, from Karnak temple to Luxor, and take the 3 barks, headed in the shoulder of the priests, and to go to 3 shrine of Amun, Mut, his wife, and also his son. And then they return back by boat through the Nile. In this celebration, it takes about 11 days a year. In some era, 19 dynasty, they added to 19 days, but in the 30 dynasty, it was almost, from 25th dynasty, it was almost 27 days celebration.
Wow, 27 days.
Yes, 27. That's because the king, every day, he do the same show, and most of Egyptians, they should come from all over Egypt to this celebration, and to celebrate with the king his renewal, and the renewal of all Egypt after the annudation.
Wow. Are there any other sphinxes in Egypt, of course, beside the Great Sphinx
yes,
in Giza, and those on Luxor?
On Luxor, everywhere there is many sphinxes, because it represents many deities in Egypt, not only Amun, but also Khnum has been represented in the shape of Ram as well.
What about other civilizations, sphinxes and other civilizations, and the major differences between Egyptian sphinxes and sphinxes?
There is some civilization also adopted rams, but after Egypt.
Right. Yeah.
Like Romans and other civilization. But for them, it was a kind of how they do to deal with animals. But in Egypt, it was a kind of holy things they adopt as a ram and as a symbol of ability to go to the world with huge reserve and huge attendance to the public.
Right. Now, could you, Dr. Abdul, please give us more information about the Karnak temples and the Luxor temple? I mean, we want to know more about them.
You know that Karnak is a complex. Karnak has involved more than 14 temples itself.
Right. Yeah.
This means it was a big temple for all over Egypt and kings during all Egyptian civilization era. Most of king has to build even shrine or to continue temples in Karnak. But Luxor temple It was built by Amr Hafiz said, and been continued by many others, but it's smaller than Karnak temples. Both of them has been dedicated for the god Amun, and in Luxor they're dedicated for Amun, the triangle, Amun, Mut, and Khunsu, the son and wife as well.
Right. Could you tell us more, Dr. Abdul, about the restoration of the avenue of Luxor monuments as a whole?
I will speak first about the excavation in the avenue.
Okay.
This process has taken more than 70 years.
70.
Yeah. It was all started in 1949 by the late Zakaria Ghanim. He was the first Egyptologist who dug in the area, and he found the first Sphinx in the area. And then it was continued until the 2011, and it was halt on, but it's continued from 2017, a huge work of excavation and restoration, and that's what we see, how the road has been not almost accomplished.
By Egyptian hands, right?
Mostly, all that's done by Egyptian archaeologists, Egyptian restorers, Egyptian engineers, Egyptian artists. All of them has participated together in a great team to give us this. But the work is still in the avenue. There is a lot of work has been to continue to discover more Sphinx, more area. It's not only Sphinx has been found. There are many objects has been found in the area. There is an Nilometer, there is a Roman bath, there is a garden. It was all the queue of the Ram Avenue was planted with flowers and plants. And this discoveries also will continue, because we are looking to find more things and to give to unveil more of secrets about this area.
Yeah, and we heard the Tourism and Antiquities Minister during the ceremony talking about the fact that just in the few days before the inauguration on Thursday, there were discoveries. So we're waiting for more.
We're waiting for more. We're looking for more discoveries as well.
Dr. Abdul, the Avenue of Ram-headed Sphinxes is a great cultural place here in Egypt, and an exquisite addition to the study of Egyptian civilization. Would you like to elaborate on that?
From this, the Egyptian civilization point of view as a awareness, would like to the Egyptians themselves to learn about their civilization. This kind of events, like the King's Parade in last April, with the inauguration of the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, and the Sphinx Avenue last Thursday, it will give a great marks to the Egyptians themselves to be awareness about their history and to learn about it, and also it was give a hand to both most of Egyptian civilization to be in the curriculum of the Egyptian classrooms.
Right. Of course, you're talking from the point of view here of a director of the Children's Museum. I was going to ask you about that, because it's very important to give our children a glimpse of their history, of their culture, of what their ancient fathers and grandfathers did. So what do you plan to do in children's museums in Egypt regarding, for instance, the Luxor?
We do. We already do like such of event. We debate it, and we give another activities and the program for the children to know more about the event, about the area, about the Sphinx Avenue. They came and have to study the area and to do some activities and the program, mostly to know the specific area of Egyptian civilization. As you see, the message already given during the event, the president himself was introduced in the beginning by Egyptian children. This was a message to the children. This is your civilization. That's you have to keep it, and you preserve it. This was a big message in the event itself.
Right.
So our children always in the front row.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Abdul, how can we benefit from the renovation and restoration process that's ongoing all across Egypt at the moment?
Yes, from archaeological point of view, the restoration and the preservation of this area, we have to keep it for our next generation. This is our main job they have to do, and we admit to preserve our civilization and for the overall world to see how Egyptians themselves working to preserve and to protect their heritage. In the regular restoration and renovation in the sites is going annually on the daily basics. That's we have to keep it because we are facing many daily activities, and also we have weathering, we have some as you see the climate change, and there are many change has been happening all over the world. We have to face it. Our heritage itself in need to in the daily and the regular program to be preserved for the next generation. This for Egypt itself and for whole world mankind.
Yes. Dr. Abdul, as an expert, how do you view this event as helping promote tourism in Egypt, notably as we are starting the winter season? I mean, events like this, the beautiful event on Thursday, the April event, in general, how do they boost our tourism industry?
I think by the new strategy of the Egyptian tourism promotion, there is a strategy now in the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities. The strategy is not here on the one event a year, on just accidentally happens, but now we will have an agenda on annual basics. We will see the tourists will come, he knows which day, which date he will find an event in Egypt in anywhere. So even in Santa Catherine, Alexandria, Aswan, Egypt, it will be distributed all over Egypt and with exact dates and time. This is a strategy will promote more and more for the Egyptian tourism promotion.
As we close out, Dr. Abdul, we want a final word from you on that wonderful celebration and festival on Thursday.
Yeah, it's really, I have to congratulate all Egyptians who participated in this event, but I would like to say for the Egyptian, wait, there is a more of such kind of event to come over next few months, and next year we'll have more on the agenda of the Ministry for Tourism and Antiquities.
We are definitely waiting and anxious, and again, it was a wonderful time that we spent, and we were sad that the show ended, when it did, but Thursday evening was a great evening here in Egypt, in an event that was widely viewed across the world. On behalf of you, dear viewers, we thank very much our dear guests here in the studio, Egyptologist Dr. Ossama Abdul, who is also a director of the Children's Museum and a member of the High Commission for Museum Scenarios and Exhibitions. Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul.
Thank you.
It's been a great pleasure. Hope to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Dear viewers, please stay with us. My dear colleague Dina Hussein will be back shortly with topic number 2 here in the program, and she'll be talking about women empowerment here in Egypt and the great strides that Egypt has taken in the field of women empowerment in the past few years. Please stay with us.
The Road of Rams. This historic road connects the temples of Luxor and Karnak and is lined with the Sphinx with Ram's head. It was called the Road of Rams in the past because it was working to protect Karnak temple and expel evil spirits. The length of the road is 2,700 meters. It extends from Karnak in the north, passing through the temple of Mut and ending with the temple of Luxor. It includes 1,200 statues, and these statues were carved from one block of the stones and were erected in two forms, the first taking the form of a lion's body and a human head.